Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. Daft Punk month continues in today's video with a look at said duo's sophomore effort, Discovery. Released in March of 2001, it was recorded between early 1998 and late 2000, and in many ways represents both a shift in their artistic and aesthetic sensibilities, as well as a response to the reaction they have received from general audiences, as well as their peers within the music industry. Their debut was recorded in a more recorded and worked on or conceived of in a more scattershot manner, without too much of an impression given to the too much thought given to the general impression that it would leave behind. Whereas Discovery was meant to be a concept album about about what it was like to discover, haha, and listen to music as a child. Without judging or assessing it, you're just, vibing to this cool new thing you just found out. In that light, it is almost profane that I would just review it. But I said I would do it, so that's what I'm going to do. The first thing that comes to mind when looking at this album as a whole is the fact that its influences are quite a bit broader than that of those of Homework. However, they seem to be more pointed, more deliberately focused. They seem to be contained within individual songs. That gives each track of the album its own distinctive signature and soundscape, making both them and the album as a whole more distinctive. That being said, cohesion is still maintained throughout this album, primarily through some very slick performance work, but also through production that seems to emphasize the rhythms and texture of each track. Homework, with its with its big beats and harsh electro sounds, really was somewhat forceful when it came to asserting itself within a given space. Whereas Discovery, with its soundscape that is inspired more by disco and R&B, is quite a bit warmer and more inviting. And it also has some deceptively complex rhythms, beats, and themes. Instead of instilling an impression upon you, the tracks seem rather geared around creating an impression toward within the minds of their listeners, and they do so quite effectively. If one were to look at this album, track by track, the first point to consider is also the obvious one: the first single and first track off the album, "One More Time." It is rightfully considered a modern classic. It is definitely the standout track of this entire album, and in many ways perfectly encapsulates the theme, the concept around which this album was developed, about the joy and wonder, and to some extent maybe even surprise of discovering new and pleasant music. Yeah, not surprised it is as well received as it is. The next three tracks, which coincidentally were also released as singles, represent some new facet about this album's general soundscape. You have the alteration of pitch, rhythm, and intent within aerodynamic. You have the enticing production and quick pace of Digital Love, and you also have the many playful variations of harder, better, faster, stronger, which went on to be somewhat of a meme around 15 years ago within the nascent YouTube scene. 2.5 years after this album was released, 2 more of its tracks were also released as singles. Those tracks were Something About Us, a song about an undescribable connection or attraction between 2 people, and Face to Face, a deceptively complex track about the deceptions people weave around themselves, and how one can only know someone if one knows that someone personally. Of the deep cuts off this album, I have to say Superheroes is the one that really stands out the most, because it is most effective at blending a welcoming soundscape with a dangerous edge. It is very interesting to listen to and consider. And also, given that this album is based on disco, you might as a listener just be compelled to dance to at least some of the tracks. I know I was. That being said, is this album as good as its reputation suggests it is? Not exactly. I've heard it called a perfect album by various people and various outlets, but truth be told, it really isn't. Like, there are a whole bunch of tracks that I think could use at least a little bit of polish, or maybe even 1 or more rounds of improvements. Well, but I'll exemplify what I mean. First of all, Crescendos sounds a little bit dissonant considering its position within the album. I think Night Vision is way too short. I think Short Circuit is maybe not too long, but it really should have stopped at just its main beat or its opening beat. Everything beyond that is just kind of meh. It's kind of just a sound void. And unfortunately, Voyager and Veritas Quo are almost completely forgettable. Too long though is fine. Like, I could do the meme thing and say that the title is fitting and therefore the song sucks. But instead, I'm gonna say that the title is very fitting and therefore the song is good. Overall, while I have my qualms with certain aspects or certain songs of this album, I cannot deny the quality at play here, and I have to say I still find the performances and the production work that went into making this album very good, and I think it really helps elevate it to a quite sizable degree. My final rating for Discovery is a 4 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please leave a like and maybe even share this video wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add, either to the review or to the album itself, well, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe, and ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about book-related or various literature topics, a link to which you will find in the description down below, right past all of my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to do so. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.